right, believe it or not, this is the final week of the course. We have made it to week 5. So this will be my final introductory video for the course. Um, I guess along those lines, I should say I hope that you have found this course useful and have been able to find some things in it that you will be able to take away and apply to your own professional lives down the road. And I thank each of you for all of the hard work you've done over the past 5 weeks. I know certainly from experience that these compressed 5 week, 3 credit classes can be an awful lot, especially when they start right at the end of the school year as we're overlapping our final duties there too. But I appreciate all that each of you has done. I've seen some great work, and it's been a real pleasure to work with each one of you. So, final week, week 5. This is the pick your own week. So, things are a little different this week. There's not much I'm going to be able to do in terms of specifics. So, this is going to be largely more like an overview, but just to talk about what you should be working towards this week and how you will be submitting your final projects. Before I get there, I do want to point out a couple of things. First, number one is the course evaluation for this course from Central should be available at this point. Uh, if you have never done one of these, they are through Blackboard as well. When you're logged into Blackboard, there should be a link on the side for My Course Eval, and this course should show up in there along with any other courses you may be taking right now. I really appreciate completing that if you can. It used to be that they were done in class, in person, and there was a whole routine around them. Now that we're online for many things, we find that we don't necessarily get as many responses back, but I would love to hear everybody's feedback on this class. If I don't get 50% back, then I don't see any of the results. So it would be helpful if each of you could find 10 or 15 minutes worth of your time and just complete that for me. Also, if you have comments or concerns that you feel comfortable sharing with me directly, then I certainly welcome those as well. I'm a huge believer in growth mindset for myself. So anything that I can do to help improve this experience for the future, please don't hesitate to reach out if there's things you would like to share with me directly. Thing number 2 has to do with grading. Over the course of this past week, I've gotten a little behind where I wanted to be, but I'm hoping in the next few days that I will get caught up with everything that has been submitted. What I am going to start doing at this point is week 1 and week 2 assignments. If they have not yet been submitted, I'm going to start entering what I call no evidence grades, which is a 50% grade for those missing assignments. And this is not to say that you can't still get those assignments in. And obviously, I encourage you to do so. But since we are getting close to the end of the course, I just want to make sure that people have an accurate sense of where their grade currently stands with the work that they've turned in. I figure at this point, most people have all of week 1 and week 2 done. So I'll start filling those in. And then maybe by the end of this week, I will do the same thing with week 3. Again, just so that as you're checking the grade in Blackboard, you don't think you have, 100%, but you haven't turned anything in. And when those go in, your grade suddenly drops to something else. So just be aware of that. But please do keep submitting things. This is an asynchronous class, and part of that is giving you the ability to kind of get things turned in on your time. So as long as they are in by the end of the course, then we are good to go. So anyways, just wanted to put that out there as well. So as I said, this week's going to be different than the other weeks. You are picking your own topic and doing some work on that topic and producing some sort of artifact or report related to that topic, setting your own goals and doing some self-assessment on them. So in terms of what you are going to be completing, step 1, hopefully you've already completed. That was part of week 4. There was a journal entry where you're going to be describing the topic that you've selected, what your goal is, and doing a little bit of a pre-assessment on that topic for where you currently stand. That journal entry is going to provide the seed of the first part of what you turn in this week. So make sure that you hold on to whatever that write-up is, because you'll be using that to develop the first part of what you turn in this week. There is a discussion forum And the discussion forum is there for you to simply describe and present the topic you've chosen. Put the name of your topic in your post as the title of your post. And the reason we're doing this is so that if there are other students in the class who maybe have some experience with what you've chosen or have some tips that they could send your way. So it's designed to be a way for those of you in the class to sort of support each other if you notice that somebody is working on a topic that maybe you have some experience with. So I would encourage you, even if you're still not ready to kind of get into the full work of that, try to get that discussion forum post put up as early as possible this week so that there's time for people to reply if they have replies. And that way that post will be as meaningful as possible and as helpful as possible for you. So that'll be everybody creates their own thread. But like I said, just make the name of the thread something that describes the topic you've chosen. So if someone's glancing down through all the posts and they happen to see a topic that they have some experience with, they can jump in and maybe provide some help. And then mainly this week, you're just going to be working on whatever your chosen topic is. The way that that work will happen will really depend on the topic you've chosen. If it's more of researching a particular topic, then you will be obviously doing a fair amount of reading and assessing of materials and developing essentially a report based on what you found. If you're choosing a piece of software that makes animations that you want to learn more about, then you will probably be learning how to use that app and actually producing sample animations and things like that. So it's really going to depend on what your chosen topic is in terms of what your work looks like this week. But you should have a goal set, and so all the work you do should be working yourself towards that goal. And then in the end, you will be creating your actual write up and getting that submitted. There is a page that kind of gives the details for that. And again, I can't, because there's such a range, I can't really say exactly what each person will be submitting, but I try to give an overview here in terms of roughly what you should be turning in. Regardless of what kind of topic you've chosen, there should be basically three main areas to what you submit. They may all end up being in one physical document that you turn in all together, or it may end up having to be a couple of different files that you submit to the project. But in any case, you will have one section that will be basically the extension of that week 4 journal entry. You'll talk about the topic you've chosen, why it's relevant for you. You'll talk about what your current ability is with that topic, basically a pre-assessment of yourself, and what your actual goal is, what you will be able to do, and use that SMART goal format for that so that it's specific and measurable and relevant and all of that good stuff. The second item is the actual, I call it the artifact, your learning artifact. And this is where there will probably be the most variation. Again, it might take the form of essentially a small research paper. It might take the form of an actual instructional material, a video, an animation, a graphic, something along those lines. Just make sure that there's something that you can submit that is evidence of what you did and of your learning over the course of the week. So that may be part of the same document as part one, or if it's a separate item, then you may be submitting that as a separate file or as a link to some work online. If you are using links, please make sure that whatever you're linking to is publicly accessible. On some of these platforms, you are able to share things with other people, but they have to have accounts in order for them to be able to see it, et cetera, et cetera. So just make sure that I would be able to see whatever the product is. And then the final piece of it will be a reflective piece, kind of the bookend to the analysis and goals piece. Sort of two things to address here. First, just kind of reflecting on your process, on your work over the week. Not so much about your goal, that'll be the second part of it, but more just your journey. What did you run into? What sorts of, how did you respond to the topic that you had chosen? What kind of meaningful application maybe do you see for your chosen topic as you go down the road? So, kind of just reflecting on your work. And then in the second part of that, this is going to be your summative assessment in a way where you will take a look at your goal that you set at the beginning of the week and will reflect on whether you reached your goal or not. Were there challenges you ran into along the way that maybe got in the way of the goal or made you change your goal or things like that, and so on. So that final reflective piece will be kind of looking back once you've completed all the work. Formatting is pretty much the same as we've been doing all along. Obviously, as I said, some of you may be turning in one file that's got all three parts in it if it's all text-based. Others may be submitting multiple files depending on what your work is. The two narrative parts, 1 and 3, roughly in this 4 to 6 page range combined, not each. And then obviously that middle section could vary widely depending on whether it's a written thing or a product thing or so on. So if you have questions about links or anything like that, just throw them my way. And then beyond that, it's the same formatting. Any text documents you're submitting, please make sure they are in PDF format. Your name for your document is going to be last name, first initial PYO for pick your own. And then you will be submitting it to the Blackboard assignment that is in week 5. So that is really going to wrap us up. The end of the course is obviously this coming Friday. I have to have grades in by absolutely by the 11th, and I actually leave the country early in the morning on the 11th. So for me, I have to have grades in by the end of the day on the 10th. So what I'm going to be doing is asking that all materials are in by the end of the 6th, which is Wednesday, a week from this coming Wednesday, just so that I have time to get through final projects. If there's anything that you think is not going to make that deadline, then please reach out to me just so that I can be, know that it's coming in and can make sure that I have time to get it turned around in time to get grades finalized and put into the university. So aim for that. The 6th, the end of the day on the 6th, Wednesday the 6th. I think that is it. So this will wrap up this final update. It's been a pleasure to work with each of you, and I hope you found the course useful. And just let me know if you have any final questions as you start working on your final project for the course. Thank you very much, and enjoy week number 5.